Here's how I look at it. I always tell people, look, start with the end in mind. 7 habits of highly successful people. Look, what do you want, right? You want that customer to come in the door. You want that new customer. So what I would say, the first thing, use a dentist as an easy to understand example. Think about the customers of a dentist, right? And I think a good mind exercise for your audience is, sit down with the back of the napkin and write out, like, who are my customers? How do they kind of categorize, right? And first, right away, realize you have existing customers.
Hey everybody, I'm Ken Newhouse, and I'm going to welcome you to the Get Clients Now podcast, the show where high-growth consultants and professionals come to access the newest and most effective methods and systems for online marketing, advanced sales and persuasive communication strategies, and automated marketing funnels. And if you're wondering if the Get Clients Now podcast can help you get more high-value clients, enjoy more sales, build a massive tribe, and make more money, you're absolutely going to love this show.
Newhouse's work completely blows everything else that we've ever done with Google out of the water.
I have been looking for a way to grow my presence online, and what I've viewed from Newhouse's work was something that certainly is faster than anything I've seen before.
He says he's going to do something and he does it. He does it in the time frame that he says he's going to do it in. It's exciting when you talk about the results that you're going to get, and you can believe his word because he follows it up with action.
The Newhouse is direct, he's to the point, he tells you what's on his mind, and he backs his words up. From what I know now, from working with him, he's passionate about his work, and he backs it up 100%.
What I like best is you offer something that no one else has out there, which is a pretty comprehensive approach about marketing a system.
If somebody asks me, should they use Newhouse's team? Absolutely, because you're going to get the important information that you need very, very quickly.
On the internet, on the different marketing techniques, I've never experienced anything like this.
I would definitely recommend Ken Newhouse for someone who's serious about growing their business. I think that your results based on the numbers would at least double the sales in a very short time frame.
Hey everybody, Ken Newhouse here from kennewhouse.com, and I'm going to welcome you back to the Get Clients Now podcast, where the one-size-fits-all marketing model is dumb, the client-centric business model is king, and the sales control system gives you the tools to build your tribe with certainty. I want to remind you that MailChimp is now supporting the Get Clients Now podcast. With MailChimp, you'll find all your marketing needs in one place. Bring your audience data, marketing channels, and insights together so you can reach your goals faster. With MailChimp, you can promote your business across email, social, landing pages, postcards, and more, all from a single platform. Today's episode begins a brand new series I'll be doing on SEO and social media, and as with every new series I do for this podcast, my goal is to bring you the most effective methods that get you clients, which means I'm beginning with the most qualified, most in-demand expert I can find, which means that the guest who's starting off the series for us today is none other than Jason McDonald. Jason, as you know, has written multiple best-selling books on SEO, social media, and AdWords marketing. And again, as you probably already know, his book, The SEO Fitness Workbook, and each of the subsequent updated editions have actually sold more copies than any other book in the category on Amazon for the last 4 years running, which is absolutely incredible when you stop and think about it. That is simply amazing. And his social media marketing book, the Social Media Marketing Workbook to be exact, has outsold his closest competitor more than 2-to-1, and he's done that 3 years in a row for that book, which is absolutely astonishing when you consider the magnitude of that achievement. Now, if you've subscribed to this show, and if you're a member of the Get Clients Now Nation, you've heard and experienced the dozens and dozens and dozens of experts that I brought on, and the countless methods that get you clients that I've exposed you to. And having said that, you probably realize that this is the first show we've actually done on SEO in well over a year, so it certainly is long overdue, and quite honestly, I wasn't even intending on doing this series. In fact, I wasn't even intending on doing a single episode on SEO because it's not necessarily in my wheelhouse, but I'm in the process of looking for the quote-unquote perfect SEO professional to work with me, and the thought is that in order for me to make the best, most informed decision possible in that hiring process, I wanted to go out and find the most authoritative content I could find on the subject, and as a result of reading that, of consuming that, of devouring that content, that in itself would hopefully allow me to up my SEO knowledge, so to speak, and then prepare me to ask the right questions to the prospective vendors that I interviewed. Now, I mentioned the word authoritative, and when I actually began searching for content I could consume on this subject, one name kept popping up over and over and over again, a name that is synonymous for an individual who's known for consistently delivering methods that get you clients, methods that help you put money in the bank. And that was Mr. Jason McDonald. And as it turns out, Jason is not only one of the world's leading authorities for SEO for small business owners and professionals, but he actually teaches SEO and social media marketing at Stanford University in their online setting. And when I found that out, I thought, you know what? Well, he's obviously the SEO guy everybody's talking about, so I'm going to sign up for his class. Wrong. Let me explain. This class is sold out over a year in advance. I think it's like 3 consecutive semesters. But after interviewing with Jason, actually, we've already done the interview. He's been kind enough to assure me that he's going to reserve me a spot in one of the upcoming classes, which is awesome. Now, the fact that the guy knows so many different people and the fact that so many people have asked him for the, quote unquote, proverbial favor, hey, could you get me a spot in the class? I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a seat in the next upcoming class, but I think at least at a minimum, it'll be that class or the one right after it. So I'm definitely looking forward to that because, like I said, he's one of the world's leading experts in SEO. And if you're like me, and if you're like my most successful clients and members, and you're always on the lookout for cutting edge strategies, things that are working in the trenches, looking for methods to get you clients, you realize that having an effective SEO strategy for your business is literally mission critical. And that applies to me just as much as it applies to you, even if, like me, you're driving a lot of your traffic using paid ads. SEO has to be part of your digital marketing strategy without question. Now, before I bring Jason in on the show, I want to set the stage by covering a few things first, and then I'm going to run through his bio. Or actually, let me rephrase that. I'm going to run through part of his bio because if I read all of his bio, if I went through all of his accomplishments, it would be like 20 or 30 minutes before I actually got him in on the show. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that part of it short. But I want to address one of the questions that I hear the most about SEO, and it's this. If I can get my website to the top of Google, will my website get a ton of highly targeted, qualified traffic? My answer to that question is a resounding yes. If you can get your website to the top of Google in relevant keyword searches for your business, and they have to be relevant because, as an example, let's say that you're a chiropractor. You wouldn't want to rank high in the keyword list for something that's relevant to a dentist like cosmetic dentistry. And I know that's kind of a silly example, but you get the point. But if you can get your website to rank in the top of Google in a relevant keyword search, I guarantee that you're going to experience growth faster than you ever imagined possible. Now, the size and the amount of this growth and the increase in your income, which is going to follow that high rank in Google search, is going to be a function of multiple different elements. Number one, how well is your website designed, which is something we actually talked about back in episode number 329. And the title of that show was 7 Elements of a High Converting Website, which is really more like 4 elements because a couple of those elements are actually kind of related and clumped together. So it's not really 7, even though I cover 7 different items. It's more like 4 elements of a high converting website. So having said that, if your website ranks at the top of Google in relevant keyword searches, and you've got a high converting website, and you possess high level communication skills, as an example, you know how to use strategic storytelling to sell. We just covered that in a series we did. And this is a big and you've mastered the art and science of selling high value services and products, and then your website ranks at the top in Google, you're going to quickly discover that you've achieved something akin to having a license to print money. So SEO is one of those cornerstone methods that get you clients, and it's really, really important for being found, for your ability to increase brand recognition, and to help you sell a lot more of your stuff, okay? Now, I'll just make a quick statement here. Obviously, if your site ranks really, really high, but you have a garbage website, or your messaging on your website is terrible, or let's say you got an awesome website. Let's say you got one of those websites, and I like to use this example, that wins like the best website contest in the whole world as far as not only how it looks aesthetically, but as far as how it functions. And then let's assume that your business is a brick and mortar business of some type. It's a service-based business of some type, whether you're a doctor, an MD, a chiropractor, a dentist, whether you're a coach or consultant, maybe you own a glass company like my parents used to own, whatever it is that you own. Let's assuming that your business is not set up like mine where I do both. I have a consulting business, a marketing and coaching and consulting business. So not only do I sell and meet with clients face-to-face, but I also sell digital products. But let's just say that your business operates in such a way that you actually have to meet with clients, customers, and patients face-to-face. If all of those things are great, so let's say you've got a killer website, you got great messaging, it's laid out aesthetically really well, all the elements are in place, you rank at the top of Google, you end up getting all these calls, and yes, you'll get a lot of calls. You will get so many phone calls So many contexts with your business, you won't believe it when you rank in the top of Google in relevant keyword searches. But if your process for dealing with new prospects is lame or dealing with new patients is lame, meaning that you don't have a really clear, sound, powerful, predictable messaging system in place, all that work to get you at the top of Google is going to be utterly meaningless. In fact, here's what Rand Fishkin, he's the founder and former CEO of SEO Moz, here's what he said in one of his Friday whiteboard workshops when he was teaching a class on SEO.
Howdy Moz fans, and welcome to a special edition of Whiteboard Friday series. I'm Rand Fishkin, the founder and former CEO of Moz. So SEO is a tactic, right? It's a way to control things. It is not a business goal. No one gets into, no one forms a new company or sits down with their division and says, okay, we need to rank for all of these keywords, right? Instead, what you should be saying, what hopefully is happening in your teams is we have these business goals. Let's say we're an online e-commerce shop and we sell customized soccer jerseys. Football for those of you outside of the United States. So we want to grow our online soccer jersey sales. Great. That is a true business goal, right? We're trying to build a bigger audience. We want to sell more of these jerseys. In order to do that, we have marketing goals that we want to achieve. Things like, well, we want to build brand awareness, right? We want more people to know who we are, to have heard of our particular brand, because people who have heard of us are going to be more likely to buy from us. The first time you hear about someone, very unlikely to buy. The seventh time you've heard about someone, much more likely to buy from them. So that is a good marketing goal. And SEO can help with that. We'll talk about that in a sec. You might want to grow top of funnel traffic. We want more people coming to the site overall so that we can do a better job of figuring out who's the right audience for us and converting some of those people, retargeting some of those people, capturing emails from some of those people, all those good things. We want to attract ready-to-buy fans, people who are chomping at the bit to buy our soccer jerseys, customize them, and get them shipped. SEO, as a strategy, is essentially a set of tactics, things that you will do in the SEO world to rank for different keywords in the search engines or control and influence what already ranks in there so that you can achieve your marketing goals, so that you can achieve your business goals.
So as you just heard Rand say, SEO can actually be very, very technical, but it definitely has its place. And that's something that Jason's going to cover with us today. In fact, Jason makes this entire process as easy, literally, as painting by the numbers. And if you've got great products or services that people actually love, and if you'll implement what Jason's going to teach you today on the show and what Jason teaches in his SEO workbook, all I can say is this: light the fuse and run, because your business is going to explode into a cash-generating monster. Listen, online marketing and SEO matter more now than ever. The marketplace's reliance on search engines for finding trustworthy products and services for individuals like consultants and service providers is only going to get more and more and more ingrained into their DNA of how they actually interact and make purchases in the marketplace. In fact, there's an untapped demographic that nobody's even talking about, and they're about to make online marketing and keeping up with it even more critical to your success. Who am I speaking about? I'm speaking about millennials. Think about it. Millennials are the generation that were born around the turn of the century in 2000, and they're an online marketing oil well that is literally about to start gushing. Think about this. Millennials will be the first generation who have ever entered life almost genetically predisposed to buying stuff online. So instead of watching this unfold, literally, they're the first group to have actually grown up in a world with Google and the internet, right? The first generation who instinctively and effortlessly know how to assess a business based on the quality of its online presence. Listen, from little kids on up, they've been groomed over time to become the ultimate judges and jury of your company's online marketing skill and your online marketing presence. Get it wrong, and they're going to condemn your website to failure. Get this right, and you stand a tremendous opportunity to harness a very impressionable generation that seems to be, for all intents and purposes, literally drunk on consumerism. These people, these kids, as I'll call them, these young adults, absolutely love to spend money. Like drunken sailors, they love to spend money. All right, so now that I've had my little rant, who in the world is Jason McDonald? Well, Jason McDonald was based in San Francisco, but recently Jason moved back to his hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma, with his wife and kids. He's an expert in SEO, search engine optimization, social media marketing on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and the gang, and Google Ads, i.e. AdWords. His consulting methodology is literally hands-on, working with his clients, not for his clients, to produce measurable results, whether that's getting your company to the top of Google setting up and managing an ongoing Facebook campaign, or GASP, as he likes to put it, paying money to advertise on Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, or even YouTube. If it has to do with internet marketing, Jason is your man. Alrighty then, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up Jason's mini bio there. So if you're like me, if you're like my most successful clients and members, and you're ready to learn more methods that get you clients, let's bring Jason in on the show. Okay, everybody, I just introduced our guest for today's episode, and that is Jason McDonald. Again, Jason is the author of the all-time, in my estimation, from what I can see from all my research, the absolute hands-down best-selling book ever written on social media marketing, and that's his Social Media Marketing Workbook. That's the 2020 edition. And then also he has the SEO Fitness Workbook 2020, which by all counts, according to the research I've done, Jason, and you can correct me here in just a second if I'm wrong or not, but I think I'm right, is the best-selling SEO book of all time. And actually, I've tried to convince Jason to turn this into like a $10,000 seminar, but he wants to leave it as a book. And then also, I think it was this weekend you mentioned you've got the new release. I just got my copy, the New Marketing Almanac 2020, which is a book, 200 and some odd pages packed with free tools that you just made available on your website. Is that correct? And welcome to the show on behalf of myself and the members of the Get Clients Now.
I'm glad to be here.
Guys, I have to tell you, I bought his books, started reading them, and I'm like, this is something, and Jason, you know this is true. I've told you this like passionately multiple times. I've got to get him on the show. I've got to get this information. Guys, I have to tell you, if you have any questions about SEO, I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to do this, and I do this once in a while. I don't do it often, but you guys know when I do it, I stand by my word. I'm going to guarantee both of his books. I want you to go onto Amazon, and I want you to buy the Social Media Marketing Workbook and the SEO Fitness Workbook 2020. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to invest in these two books. You're going to read them and use them and apply what's in these two books. And you're going to be able to say that the strategies and the methods to get you clients included in these two books are the best you've ever utilized for your business as it relates to internet marketing and getting new clients, customers, and patients from the internet, as far as SEO and social media marketing goes. And that these two books literally have been two of the best investments you've made in your business in a long, long time. And if you can't say that, which I highly doubt, otherwise I wouldn't put out this guarantee. But if you can't say that, I want you to email me and I will buy either or both books from you and then replace it with a book from the same niche, from the same genre, that's at the same or lesser price than Jason's books. I'm putting my reputation on the line, probably without question, other than Breakthrough Advertising, written by Eugene Schwartz, which is like literally my favorite book when it comes to business and marketing. I'm just blown away by the amount of amazing, helpful, relevant, monetizable content, Jason, you put in these books. So again, welcome to the show, and thanks for doing the show.
Introduction.
Jason, you said they could either just Google Jason McDonald or go to your website, jasonmcdonald.org.
Hey, I practice what I preach. Just Google me. Go to Amazon, put in SEO. Go to Amazon, put in social media marketing. You're going to find my books. They're at the top. I'm easy to find. You can hunt me down.
I read a book or two a week, every week. Sometimes I stretch it and do 3, not too often. And I told Jason this when we first talked. I picked up your book and I started reading, and I'm like, okay, if I'm going to implement this stuff, which I'm going to implement it, I'm going to pay someone to implement for me, because you can't just read his books. This is a step-by-step, hold-you-by-the-hand blueprint for basically making Google do all the heavy lifting for you. Does that sound close, Jason?
I mean, they're called workbooks because they're work and they're books. They tell you what to do, but you have to do it. That's why the SEO book, which is the first book I ever wrote and put on the internet, is called a fitness workbook, because it was like fitness. Like, I can tell you how to get fit, but I can't do it for you, right? I can tell you what the steps are, which is the good news, right? And then you've got to go do it. And it's not as hard as people think it is, but it's hard in a day, like all of us who, like myself included, who could do more for physical fitness. You have to get up, you have to do it, you have to stay with it. It takes effort for you to do it, but that's where they're workbooks. They're not just like pie in the sky books.
Well, let me just give you the quick breakdown of the show. Probably 40 to 45% of the people who listen to the show are dentists. We've got some chiropractors who listen to the show, have a lot of consultants, some coaches, marketers, and a mix of small business owners. It's kind of why we split up and I started doing the .com Dentist podcast to try to move some of the dentists over to that and be more targeted in my messaging in this particular show. But having said that, your books can be picked up by pretty much anyone who knows how to send an email and who can read directions and they can accomplish tremendous SEO improvements or SEO achievements, or I don't know how to say that correctly, but these are not so technical that you have to be a graduate of Stanford, as an example, because you teach at Stanford. Obviously, how long have you been at Stanford?
I've been teaching in their continuing studies program since 2009. It's like 10, 11 years at this point.
Right. So that's quite a long time. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and get started with the interview because there's a lot of stuff we want to cover. I want to get some relevant information to these guys today. But guys, again, I'm going to hammer these books because they're a wise investment for you and I want the best for you. So Jason, let's do this. I'm going to ask you a couple questions that I ask everybody. How'd you get started doing what you're doing now? Give us a little of your backstory about your company, a little bit of backstory about Stanford, and then how'd you get started doing all this SEO stuff? And you also do social media too, because
I do. Yeah. Social media is a big growing part of what I do. How did I get into this? It's sort of kind of a funny story. I actually kind of date the origin of all of my interest in all of this to my first job out of college. I worked at a law firm in Washington, D.C., and I'm 100 years old. So this was way before the internet. It was in 1986. And we did the big litigation cases. And this was like the birth of the computer age. They had Wang computers. And I worked in the database of litigation. So I was responsible at taking this mountain of paper and organizing this so that at the proper moment, at the proper time, an attorney could get the piece of information that he or she needed for a deposition or a trial. And we had a very, what was cutting edge, right? But we had a very simple database that we constructed and worked. And I got just fascinated with information and how information kind of flows through a process. And that was and even though I'm not a computer nerd, I am not a computer nerd. I am not a technical computer nerd. The whole computer thing was really incredible. So I think it was the moment where the seed was planted. Then I got a PhD from University of California, Berkeley. Thank you, taxpayers. Was completely paid for by your tax dollars. So I had a wonderful time, and then I had to get a job when that gravy train ended. And then I was like, well, I don't want to be a professor. I don't make enough money doing this. So I ended up working at tech companies in San Jose, media companies, and that's 94. That was right when Al Gore and I were inventing the internet. And once we got the internet going, then it was like this whole internet thing is going to be huge, right? And that's what got me into like the internet and how it was with engineers, as techies. So how engineers find information. We were in the print media business, but you could see the writing on the wall. And that's what got me into like search engines. This is pre-Google. It's before Google. So I remember when I built the first website I built, there was one book and Fry's Electronics in Fremont, one book on how to do this. And I built my own first website from nothing, That's how I got into it. And then was doing it for tech. And then when the economy melted down in 2009, then that sector that I was in got really clobbered. And then I was like, oh, I remember I was a graduate student and I like teaching and I like words and I like writing and books. And that's one thing led to another. And that's what pulled me back into the fun part of academia, which is the teaching and the book part and not the petty politics part of it.
So I'm a retired chiropractor and you have a PhD. Would you prefer that I would address you as Dr. McDonald?
No.
Or just, okay.
My mom says everyone should call me doctor, but other than my mom, and I do expert witness work, other than those people, no, it seems so formal.
Yeah, I did expert witness work when I was in practice. That was many, many moons ago, but I don't actually miss that, but it's, I guess you have to have a taste for it, but wow, that was a long time ago. I had completely forgotten that I even did that kind of work.
I do a fair amount of litigation over trademarks where people step on each other's toes on the internet and then everyone starts suing everyone over stuff and they don't understand how it works. So I explain who stepped on whose toes at what point in time.
I could have used you because I filed for a trademark, and I'll just say this quickly. I filed for a trademark for .com dentist, and they asked me in the application, what I was doing, and I said dental websites and dental marketing, and, they wrote me back. It took several months, but I got this thing back, and I still haven't completed it. I don't know whether to send it to an attorney or not. I don't know how important it'll be. I don't think anybody else will use that name, but they're like, you can't trademark the word marketing and some other stuff that I'm like, well, you asked me what I did, so Anyway, it's words matter in the law when it comes to legal issues. They're very particular about how things are worded down to periods and colons and all, the different forms of the English language. So, Jason, is there an instance or, like I said, individual, other than the fact that the market dried up, the big crash, the recession we went through in 2009? Is there anything else, anyone who influenced you to go in the direction you're going now? Or as an example, how'd you know to go to Stanford to apply? I mean, what led you there?
Yeah, I had already started teaching in San Francisco, and I this gets a little philosophical, a little heavy. So I kind of think that there are different attitudes you can have towards talent as a person, as a business person, and I think that there are many people who think that talent is something you're born with, and then I think there are people who think that talent is something that you create, and I believe that you create talent, and so you decide you want to do something, and then you figure out how to get that done. And so I kind of decided I wanted to start teaching again. And so I taught at some wonderful institutions, not as prestigious as Stanford. And then I basically hunted down the people at Stanford and said, I want to teach this course and you guys don't teach it and you really should. And I went out to lunch with some great people at Stanford and they were like, well, you do have a Berkeley PhD, so we'll just keep that secret. But other than that, yes. And then I teach the class. I've been teaching forever there, and class is very, very, gets really good reviews and often sells out. So everybody's happy. But I think that you create talent. I don't think you are born with talent. I mean, you have to have a little bit of born talent, but the 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration quote from.
Makes sense. And what's the name of the class? Just so everybody knows, he's practicing what he preaches because he's practicing what he teaches, which is
Marketing Without Money at Stanford. Marketing Without Money.
Okay, and you deal a lot with.
And it's both on campus and online. I teach it on campus. I'm going to teach it on campus next weekend. I'm teaching on Stanford campus.
Okay.
And then I teach it online through Stanford as well. It's great. They do a great job with the technical part of it.
Sweet. Okay, so let's do this. Let's kind of jump forward into the mix here because I know a lot of our listeners, the big talk is social media. Which topic? We're going to cover both SEO and social media. Which one do you think is easiest for you in the context of our conversation to start with? Which topic?
Most people are hot and heavy and excited about social media, and I am too. But I think the logical way to explain things is to start with SEO, to start with search. And also historically, search came first. I'm a history buff, as you know.
Right.
SEO, Google, search, that came first. And then social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, was built on top of the infrastructure of search. So I think conceptually, if you want to understand it, start with search, get that under your belt, and then do the social.
Okay, and so let's do this then. Let's just say for the sake of example, and like I said, we've got a wide variety, which is kind of unusual for a particular show, but because I have a mix, let's do this. Let's pretend that I'm a dentist, or even this would apply to a consultant, a small business consulting firm. But I've got a website online, I've got competition, and I want to actually I'm doing well. Let's say that I've already hired someone and I've got AdWords and I've got a Facebook PPC program that's working, but I want my website to rank higher in organic search because I want to get more free traffic. And I think also when your website's ranked higher in organic search, at least in my opinion, from my perspective, which I'm going to defer to yours always in this particular instance, it seems to me it would make your business look more credible.
Absolutely.
And so let's start with that. Let's say I'm a professional person, either a dentist or I have a dental practice or a consulting practice, and I want to get my website to rank as high up on page 1 of Google as I can without having to pay for AdWords or something like that. Let's start with it. Does that give you kind of a framework? And you can ask me questions and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. Here's how I look at it. I always tell people, look, start with the end in mind, 7 habits of highly successful people. Look, what do you want, right? You want that customer to come in the door. You want that new customer. So what I would say, the first thing, use a dentist as an easy to understand example. Think about the customers of a dentist, right? And I think a good mind exercise for your audience is, sit down with the back of the napkin and write out like who are my customers? How do they kind of categorize, right? And first, right away, realize you have existing customers who already love you, who are attached to you as a dentist. That's really not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is new customers. And then start to think about those new customers and ask yourself the question, what brought them in the door? What got them to be interested in you as a dentist? And I would argue that then you're going to see there's kind of a decision tree. There's people who come from word of mouth. A friend, family member recommends you. Now, that can also occur on the internet, on Facebook, etc. Or there's people who Googled you or went to Yelp, especially in the blue states. Yelp is a pretty big deal. So it depends where you are, but they'll go to Google or Yelp or both, and they'll put in a keyword. And now what is the keyword? Is it dentist? Is it children's dentist? Is it pain-free dentist? Is it Invisalign? Is it dentist near me? Is it dentist San Francisco? Is it dentist Noe Valley? Is it dentist downtown? You can start to see there's a whole bunch of different ways that someone can look for a dentist. Okay, now, I always am like, when I explain things, hold that thought. Now we have an issue that we know, keywords. What are the keywords that your potential customers enter into Google? And do you know those keywords? Mom, I want to go to the Olympics. What sport? I don't know. I can't help you. Mom, I want to go to the Olympics. What sport? I want to be a pole vaulter. Okay, now I can tell you how to train. I want to be at the top of Google. We want to be at the top of Google for dentists, for dental implants, for dentures, for kids dentistry. There's niches even within, or maybe it's geographic, dentists near me, dentists in a certain neighborhood. So You've got to know those keywords, and I mean really know them, like absolutely.
Okay, so that's
an action item.
There's a quick question. How do you figure out what those keywords are? So let's say I'm a cosmetic dentist, and I want to get more dental veneer patients, more dental crowns, maybe some dental implants in there. How do I know what keywords my ideal patient, my perfect new patient prospect, the ideal people that I want to have in my practice if I was a dentist? How would I know
your keywords? Yes, that's your first action item. And some of that is seat of the pants, like, brainstorm it. And then there are tools. There's Google search tools. That's why I produced this marketing almanac. There's a wonderful tool called Answer the Public. You can literally just go to Google and Google Answer the Public, and you'll see this creepy man, and you type in dentist, and the creepy man disappears, and then you get a whole directory. You laugh because the man is super creepy.
I used it. I read your book.
Now a young creepy man.
Yes, I read your book and I used it, and yes, that's exactly what happens. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, so that's a good tool where you start to see it. The other one that's very useful is literally just go to Google and just type in dentist and stop and hit your space key and see what the suggestions are. I guarantee you're going to see a lot of what we call geographic. So dentist San Francisco, dentist Noe Valley, dentist, the Castro, those neighborhoods or city searches, which is a huge red flag that this is a geographically focused search. So there are a lot of tools. That's why, look me up, find my marketing almanac and my dashboard. There's about 5 or 6 free tools. There's a Google Keyword Planner inside of AdWords too. Those help you research what the keywords are. And there's a whole bunch of stuff about how to organize those. But just make the mental note. You got to know the keywords. And dental implants is a good example. That's kind of a lucrative business that some people are in versus regular dentists versus, say, pediatric dentist is another kind of subspecialty. And then I think there's like pain-free dentistry or something, people that are freaked out when they go to the dentist. So things that customers look for, and then you got to know those. And then there are some tools as you indicate. And then that's sort of task one is really understand what are the keywords that you want to dominate. That's the first point.
Okay. And so just real quickly, you can either get this incredible free tool on his website, or I have an alternative. If you'd like, can come to my website and I will sell you this free almanac, Jason's free almanac, for $500. So you get to decide if you want to just waste money and give it to me, or you can just go to his website and get it for free. I'm telling you guys, this is the shock. I was actually shocked that somebody would give this information away. I still think he should be selling it, but he knows his business better than I do. So Jason, what's the next process? We have our keywords. What's the next relevant process in this? What's the next step?
Yeah. So just again, it's going to vary based on the kind of business you are, but let's just take dentist because it's an easy to understand example, right?
Yeah, we'll stay with that example. That's a good
dentist. That's a good one, right? Chiropractor, dentist. I think you mentioned some of the people are B2B. It's a little bit different, but just take dentist, which is pretty straightforward. The next thing I would think is think like a customer. So you go to your computer, right now, if you're driving, don't do it, but stop your car. Go and put in dentist and nothing else, or dentist near me, and look at what comes up. And what you're going to see is ads at the top. That's AdWords. We're not talking about that. You're going to see the local path, which is 3 listings on Google My Business. And then beneath that, you're going to see your organic. Okay. Now, a lot of people ignore ads. I sell ads. I do ads. I know that. We're going to ignore that for now. It's got its own issues. Within that local pack, there's a lot of activity on that local pack. Okay, you're going to make an observation. There are going to be some dentists. There are going to be dentists that have 5 reviews, dentists that have 50 reviews, dentists that have 20 reviews. There are going to be some dentists that have 1-star reviews and some dentists that have 4-star reviews. The long and short of it is, most people will choose the dentist who has more reviews, or at least a sufficient quantity of reviews. And those reviews are generally 4 and 5-star reviews. If you have no reviews, you suck. If you have only 1-star reviews, you really suck, right? And if you have 3 and 4, you're kind of on your way. Okay, now we've realized people make the decision online largely influenced by the review count. Now we have an action item. We need more reviews. Ask yourself in your office, does anyone ever try to get reviews for us? Do they ever, if the patient's happy, hey, do us a favor, write us a review on Google? Or do you do nothing? If you do nothing, I guarantee you're not going to get enough reviews. So you have to kind of have a proactive, ask the customer for review strategy. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff down this rabbit hole of what you can do, what you can't do, et cetera. But just make the observation that reviews are very important to the decision of the customer, online reviews. Okay. Now, the other thing you'll notice if you dig a little deeper is to Google, the dentist that has more reviews is more likely to show in the local pack than the dentist who doesn't have many reviews. So it also helps you show on Google if you have a lot of reviews. And that actually goes for your reviews on Yelp as well. Now, the geographic proximity is important too. The closer you are to the searcher, that's very, very important. But the review count is very important. So here we have another action item. What is our review strategy to get reviews without getting into trouble and going completely to the dark side?
Okay, so let's clarify that, because I want to make sure people don't do that. One of the things years ago that I did and is with our clients to help them get Google reviews is I had them have an iPad in their office that linked directly with, they had a review screen that would go directly to Google reviews. And then somebody said, hey, you probably shouldn't do it directly from your office because your IP address is going to show up and it's going to look like you're stuffing reviews
in the same device. Yes, that's true.
And cheating. So that didn't, I nixed that in the bud when the changes came about. So just talk briefly about the right way to do this, the wrong way to do this. And
so the easiest, most important thing to do is to ask people. So when somebody is happy, a mom or dad has brought their kid in, the kid had their dentist, kids are nervous around dentists, they have a good experience. Just have a protocol of, hey, could you do us a favor? Could you write us a review on Google? And then maybe have an email with a link to your listing on Google. You can literally just Google your dentist practice name and send the link. You can shorten the link through like a tiny URL or something, or maybe a handout. And then you're right, it's a little bit better if they go home and do it, or they do it on their own phone. Then definitely you would want them to do it on your computer. But I find that most of my local clients are people who read my book who are local. The biggest problem, the biggest mistake they're making is they are not asking. And if you can do this, you can do a test. Read my book, send me an email, ask me a question, I'll answer the question. I will always ask you, please write me a review. Because I ask, and that's how I get the review count up on Amazon. It's just, hey, hey, there's the answer question. Do me a favor, write me a review. Now, you're going to ask 10 people, and 9 of them are not going to do it, but okay, whatever, right? That asking is the most important thing to do. And then the derivatives are like make a short email, give a handout, things like that. Incentivize your employees. Make sure that the receptionist or whoever knows every time you get a review, they get some sort of bonus. So incentivize the employees and not the customer. That's much less likely to be a problem. What you don't want to do is hire some outfit from the third world to suddenly create 200 reviews that originate in some third world country. That is an obvious sort of lie. That's going to get you in trouble. But just asking people is not going to get you in trouble.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up part 1 of the interview with Jason McDonald. And in our next episode, we'll pick back up with the second half of the interview where we talked about SEO. We covered Jason's book, the SEO 2020 workbook. And then the show following that, we're going to dive headfirst into social media marketing. And we're going to talk about Jason's newest best-selling book, the Social Media Marketing Workbook. And that, again, is the updated versions. So with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Our objective with this podcast is to help you and your business stand out in the marketplace by crystallizing your messaging, marketing, and communications. On behalf of the whole Ken Newhouse team, thanks for listening.